Oh, so much. I think work that we're doing in South Kilburn, I'm truly, it has a special place in my heart. Really, I'm a history teacher by background. You know, I came into politics not to be never thought I'd ever come into regen. But the work that we're doing in South Kilburn is particularly something that I'm proud of. I've taken it over, and it's a longer term project. So the principles of how we work in South Kilburn is really important to us. And one of the things that one particular part of the scheme that I'm really quite proud of is we had this one particular part of the site called the Carson Granville Centre. It's a community centre at the moment, and it also houses an enterprise hub. And we've put together, I've put together a community steering group, because the site also has a nursery, a community kitchen, a children's centre, and our board is made up of those stakeholders. And we worked since I became on post, for 4 years, to make decisions on the design team for the new site, consultation, everything coming forward. The decisions are not made by me as a cabinet member; they're made by this community steering group, and it's a model that's fantastic. And as a result, we have the most brilliant scheme plan that we're looking to start development for next summer, and it's a real example of how I see regeneration and development should be. That it's a partnership between us, the authority, and the community, who are going to have to deal with the development coming forward. And I think the mark of what we do in South Kilburn was exemplified in the result that we had last year as part of, obviously, the GLA funding conditions and our own manifesto commitments. We had an estate ballot, 17 blocks, and over 84% yes, which is, and it was very scary, because it's not a brand new development, it's halfway through. So it could have very easily turned on its head, in the sense that people weren't happy with what we were doing, but they are. And what we generally get from residents down there is, well, can you just hurry up and build our homes? That's what we get, that's what we get told. So we're moving as fast as we can, but that's been now, I think, that approach in terms of working with the community partnership is really important.
Would you see that as evidence that estate ballots are a good thing?
Yes, they're hard work, don't get me wrong, and it's a huge departure in how we as a council, or councils generally, work. But I think the lessons of, sadly, Grenfell, and just generally conversations about people feeling very displaced and having no ownership, particularly if you're a council tenant, on these schemes, of what happens to you. And it's incumbent, I think, upon us as local authorities that we change the way that we work. And the estate ballot gave us an opportunity. So we had, during the campaign, if you will, because obviously we were door knocking and so on, we had the leader, the chief exec, the cabinet, and directors all door knocking, going out to speak to residents about South Kilburn, about their wishes, their frustrations, and it was fantastic to hear at that level and that connection. So people genuinely felt that, actually, wow, I'm speaking to the leader of the council, I'm speaking to the chief exec of the council, I'm speaking to a cabinet member or a director. I'm not just speaking to the officer that I see regularly. So it's incumbent that we take residents with us, and it's getting to people who don't often speak the loudest, and it's really important that we do that. So I do think estate ballots are an important way forward, ensuring that we get the buy-in of residents, because that's essentially who we're doing this for.
What was it in the feedback that you were getting that residents were saying that they were most happy with? What was the sort of the composition of that positive feedback?
So it was a combination of stuff. So we were dealing with overcrowding. So quite often they were just excited by the fact that their children were going to be able to have bedrooms and a place to study. There were better quality outdoor spaces. So one of the parks that we've designed, our officer went out and worked with a group, and they designed this amazing open space that the only complaint that we get from it now is that I'm hearing too many children play at 10 o'clock at night in the park, which is, as complaints go, I'm happy to take that as a complaint. And I think also the abilities that South Kilburn had some issues around antisocial behaviour and crime. And part of the design process is to actually design those out. So getting rid of those kind of pockets of hidden areas. And so these parks, the open spaces that we're designing, have natural surveillance of parks of windows and things being overlooked. So nothing is hidden and nothing can be hidden. I think is elements of that. And I think there's also elements that knowing that we're going to be delivering a brand new medical centre, which is hugely necessary considering it's going to be an estate of 2,500 homes. Affordable housing will be increased. Community facilities are going to be increased. So I think it's a combination of factors, but I think also it's part of the fact that we have the team in South Kilburn. The team work directly out of there, not through the civic centre. And one of the things that we're really conscious of is that each resident that's going to be getting, or each household that gets a new home from us, they have an interview with our housing team, or our South Kilburn team, assess their needs, but they also get to pick out the fixtures and furnishings. So the look of the kitchen, carpets, we will make sure they've got a home that has a bathroom that's accessible, and it's all designed for that resident, and we make sure that that's delivered.
How feasible is it for you to take that approach elsewhere in the borough? Is that something you can only do because of particular circumstances, or is that something you could an approach you can apply wherever you develop, wherever you regenerate?
The principle is the same. The principle stays in terms of community engagement, in terms of ensuring that we get resident buy-in. And a regeneration, in my mind and in Brent's mind, isn't just about housing. It's about addressing the lifestyles and the outcomes that people want for their area. So in South Kilburn, it was housing as a primary focus, but there's also social infrastructure that needed to be looked at. On St. Raphael's estate, for example, housing is a concern, but also it's that residents are really, and we've had various engagement activities with residents there, and there's a steering group about youth employment, about opportunities for young people, about community spaces, about outdoor space. So can we deliver all of that as part of a regen scheme? I mean, St. Matt's is one road in, one road out. Do we need to change the actual transport infrastructure around there to enable it to connect more to, it's literally next door to Wembley, but you wouldn't know.